75, you compare, budget estimates, 2021, 2022, 2023, and we pick out, the three key areas. Ministry of Works, budget estimate 22 billion. You go to infrastructural development, 24 billion, and you go to Ministry of Education, 25 billion. And so it got the highest budget in 2022, and we have fully performed to the level of 103%, and this is very critical. Mr. Speaker, in page 78 of my address, it is important to note under supplementary budget that the approved 2022 budget did not necessarily factor in the level of inflation, as the inflation rate was benchmarked in our budget at 13%, and now we see a spike in the prices of goods and services as a result of the increasing inflation rate, which is currently at over 20.7%. According to federal government forecast in this budget presentation, the inflation rate may still rise in the fourth quarter of the year. This has made it imperative to make additional provision for expenditure on some priority projects and programs in the current fiscal year. Let me again appreciate Mr. Speaker and his colleagues for the expeditiously approving the 2022 supplementary budget to accommodate the under budgeted revenue receipts and the revenues we earned in excess of the 2022 budget. Despite the twists in the revenue expectations in this fiscal year, have made sure that new revenues were attracted and earned for the approved 2022 budget implementation, and thus were compared by Section 121 of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended to present the 2022 supplementary budget, which enabled us to account for those receipts and expenditures in 2022 fiscal year.
Presentation of the 2023.
Mr. Speaker, in page 90 of our budget presentation this afternoon, you see the highlights of supplementary budget. A total of 58,401,295,590 kobo, where the expenditures, of the supplementary budget, which we had presented to you and you graciously approved same. And in that budget, supplementary budget, we had 10.48 billion as recurrent, and we had 47.952 as capital. And you will see that overall ratings for our budget performance projected for 2022 is 87.17%. Mr. Speaker, Your Excellency, my dear brothers and sisters, we've come to the highlight of today's presentation, which is 2023 budget of divine mandate consolidation and continuity, C2C. What do we intend to achieve in 2023? We intend that all the ongoing projects shall be completed before we anchor administration exactly on the 29th of May 2023. We shall invest more significantly in empowerment of our people and creating opportunity for private sector investment and partnership that will be a catalyst to our initiative aimed at stimulating self-sufficiency, wealth and job creation, food security and industrialization. Majority of our critical infrastructure will be handed over to the private sector to drive. Our existing infrastructure in health, education, power will receive more attention in the area of equipment, renovation and installation of facilities that will improve their productivities. Mr. Speaker, let me digress to worry about some of the funny people that say that they are pretending to campaign for governor. When somebody criticizes our administration for handing over the medical university to federal government, that's the height of ignorance. The federal government is not the one schooling there. The number of jobs created, mostly which are Bonyans, are there. The benefits, that additional funds that will come from federal government other than state, and so it's height of ignorance. I thank this House for the approval, and I thank you for the support, and I thank you for all the enabling laws you made that enabled us to achieve this feat. It's one of the legacies we beat our chest and say, look, we ran a very good race. Highlights of 2023 budget estimates. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria requires that as governor, I cause estimates of the state revenue and spending for the upcoming fiscal year to be presented to the House of Assembly at any time before the start of each fiscal year. Today, I most respectfully present to this honorable House the 2023 budget estimate tagged the budget of divine mandate consolidation and continuity, C2C. This budget is a transition budget, which means that it will be implemented by this administration and, Mr. Speaker, by you, by God's special grace. That we are called the next administration, and we are praying and we are working very hard towards that. We are not making noise, but we are working very hard, Mr. Speaker. The current administration will be implementing 41.67%, while you will implement 58.33%. So, Mr. Speaker, I see you have more stake, the House has more stake in this budget, more than my administration. The budget estimates is a total of 139,398,640 naira. I take it again, 139,398,280,640 naira. This consists of recurrent expenditure of 58.36 billion, and when you further break it down, you have personnel, and of course this budget is 41.87% of the total budget. And when you further break it down, the recurrent broken down into personnel, the personnel is estimated at 26.894 billion, or 19.29% of the budget, whereas the overhead is estimated at 31.473 billion, or 22.58% of the budget, whereas the capital is 58.13%, which is 81.030 billion. The reason for having a scale down on the capital budget is because this will be a new administration, and a number of things we need to be done. For example, the ESCO members will need vehicles, they will need furniture allowance. The House of Assembly will need vehicles, they will need furniture allowance, and so on and so forth. So it is a new beginning, and the government needed to be reset, and that's why you have the budget of recurrence slightly more than the previous years at 41.87% of the budget. The 2023 budget proposal is 4.13% less than the 2022 original budget, and it is aimed at addressing the challenges observed so far in the implementation of 2022 original budget. Kudos to SEFTAS. The policy of 2023 budget. Our mission is to mobilize the human resources in the state to harness all God-given resources to create and use wealth for individual happiness, collective fulfillment, and peaceful cohabitation in an environment of transparent and honest leadership. The state fiscal policy is envisaged to control and enforce compliance with established spending limits to achieve sound budgeting system, which includes aggregate fiscal discipline, allocative efficiency, and effective spending. The budget is also guided by its trust and the priorities. The fiscal policy trust is predicated on the following: educational growth, healthcare development, infrastructural development, housing and others, human capital development and job creation, security of lives and property, institutionalization of best practices, consolidation and transition. Major highlights of 2023 fiscal plan. In the proposed budget, Mr. Speaker, we plan to commence the setting up of the two universities, the ICT University at Oferekpe, in Izi local government, and the Aeronautical University as a location. When fully established, the Aeronautical University will be able to train and certify airport managers, aircraft engineers, pilots, and so on and so forth. While the ICT University will likewise aid a revolution of information technology in the state and the country at large. We expect another Silicon Valley in that of a location. We expect that this institution will train students in computer science, computer engineering, data science, software development, machine learning, among other ICT areas. And let me tell you that Ebonyi people are very highly gifted in ICT. And so this university is going to further develop us in that gift, God-given gift. We intend to do development of infrastructure for Ebonyi State University Teaching Hospital. The time has come that we're going to take the very beautiful edifice we built in Feta 1, and we're going to add it to the new structure of Ebonyi State Teaching Hospital. And that teaching hospital will be started this year. The foundation stone will be laid, and we start development. Development of other gain facilities at the new stadium, implementation of impact program in the state to improve care for children and women against malaria, continued upgrade and equipping of all general hospitals in the state, increase the use of renewable energy supply, install more solar lights, development of new housing units for civil servants, payment of all gratuity, pension, loan repayment, and payment of contractors' retention fees. Soft loan to small and medium-scale farmers under the EBBC program. Appointment of over 100,000 to 500,000 Ebonians as liaison officers for community environmental services and security vigilantes. This is very important for our administration. Assistance to 140 communities for community development projects. Continuous renovation of our primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, equipping them and employment of more teachers and training and retraining of teachers. Strategic partnership with UBEC for infrastructure and equipment to our primary and junior secondary schools. Training of teachers and employment of more teachers, like I said. Development of strategic infrastructure in EBBC and the Equal College of Education. Intervention in David Omai Teaching Hospital on equipment, infrastructure, and hiring of specified experts to assist in developing our centers of excellence. Partnership with World Bank on ramp implementation. Completion of the ongoing 198 Ring Road project. Completion and deployment of the airport. Completion of our new stadium. Development of our Abakaliki internal roads and 13 local government internal roads. Dualization of major federal and state highways in the state. Aggressive development of agriculture, small businesses, and mining. Completion of all ongoing projects, development of independent power to revolutionize industries in the state, construction of roads, bridges, and more flyovers, enhanced welfare packages to our civil and public servants, empowerment of over 100,000 Ebonians in the Ministry of Human Capital Development. All those proposals were captured in 2023 budget proposal before this Honorable House for their deliberation and approval. Good to know that the public during citizen presentation and participation had approved all these proposals. Mr. Speaker, the total expected receipts in our 2023 budget stands at 139.398 budget, and this is 4.13% decrease from 2022 budgeted receipt of 145 billion. All the details of expected revenues are listed here, but in page 100 you will be seeing our comparison of 2022 and 2023. Like opening balance, we are 7.77 billion in 2022. In 2023 we expect opening balance to be 5 billion. Government share of FAC allocation in 2022 we have 57 billion. In 2023 we expect 61 billion. Independent revenue, in 2022 we had 23 billion. In 2023 we expect 42 billion. Aids and grants we had 26 billion, and in 2023 we expect 9 billion. Capital Development Fund received we have 30 billion, and in 2022 and 20 billion in 2023. Let me emphasize that part of our expected revenue is the completion and the construction of the Muhammad Buhari International Airport, and we expect to gain over 20 billion from that construction, and that will be the minimum, and this is very important. Mr. Speaker, in page 113 clause 50, we have budget proposal, which is a product of citizen consultations and input. We have been keeping with our commitment to international best practices in budgetary processes and in accordance with the fiscal responsibility law of the Ebonyi State, subject to the 2023 budget proposal to the scrutiny and inputs of the citizenry. We sought and obtained contribution from different governmental and non-governmental organizations, including civil societies. Meanwhile, I was told that civil society say that I should set aside my executive order. I think they need to understand the executive order. The executive order is simply saying that because there have been partners in progress, so I want them to be properly guided. What we have said is that if you are a political party, including EBBC, including Mr. Speaker, if you want to use any of the schools, the Commissioner for Education needs to know. We need to know that you will not use the school when the children are in section. That's if there is school, there can be no rally there. You will not use the school if it's a boarding school. We've had cases of rape during such rallies. You will not use the school if we don't have the assurance that if you destroy anything there, you will repay it. You will not use the school if you don't have provision to clean up the school when you finish. And so they say they will take me to court. I'm a product of, reformation of our democracy. So if you still want to go to court, I will wait for you with 5 sons. So we are not afraid. But should also add that political parties, including Mr. Speaker, must pay for the billboard advert. That billboard advert was made, it's a law of the state, and no matter what anybody cries, the law of the state supersedes every emotions and sentiments and will be maintained. And so if you don't pay the billboard advert, you will not paste your billboard, including EBBC. This is very important. So if you want to go to court, you can add that one. And so we strengthen democracy. It is noteworthy to mention that during the citizen input consultation for 2023 budget dated 31st October, Mr. Speaker, why I talk to you like this as a candidate is that if you don't pass the budget, it's your trouble. So, but while I'm governor, you have to pay for your billboard advert. If you want to use school or marketplace, you have to write to us. And I have said to the Commissioner of Education and Commissioner and the SSA Market Development, do not unduly withhold any permission, provided all the criteria are met. And we must know that Ebonyi State is not the first to do that executive order. But since God has been using us to strengthen democracy, we are well prepared to work on that with anybody that will be worthy enough to take us to court. Mr. Speaker, it is noteworthy to mention that during the citizen budget for the 2023 budget dated 31st October 2022, stakeholders approved the passage of the estimate contained in the budget, and they accordingly, directed us to immediately move to the House of Assembly for approval. Let me mention some of the highlights of the 2023 budget, Mr. Speaker. If you go to page 101, you will look at the economic sector. Let me tell you, no country, no state will develop if you don't give priority attention to capital projects. It is the capital project that is a catalyst to the welfare of the people. Capital project is catalyst, to social sector. This is very important, and that's why in 2023 budget we have put our capital project economic sector at 42%. We can see administrative sector at 13%, and you can see social sector at 41%. So all the time we make sure that the economic sector and the social sector, are almost the same. If you go to page 102, under overhead, expenditure, you see the administrative sector, at 59% and the economic sector at 35.92%. This will take care of, the purchase of, the certain payments we make under recurrent expenditure. And this is very important to note. And if you go to page 103, under capital, you will see the administrative sector only 11%, the economic sector 59%, and the social sector 27%. The essence of it is that it is the economic sector that will give birth, to the social sector. Mr. Speaker, the highlights and very essential ingredients of 2023 budgets, and that's by isolating the heavy spending MDAs. For example, in page 111 of our presentation, you have Ministry of Internal Security and Border Peace. You have, the budget of 3.25% of the entire budget. And Human Capital Development, you have 2.34%. And you come to Ministry of Works and Transport, you have 15.56%. And you come to Ministry of Education. Again, we have emphasized education, which is 15.37, about the same with the Ministry of Works and Transport. And you come to Ministry of Health, you have 5.5%. And you come to Ministry of Finance, you have 19.17%. Of course, for the fact that we have to, appoint a number of liaison officers, we have to pay the loans that we inherited. We have to service, our ring road project loan also. This is very important, and it's worth to know that this loan was initiated by our predecessors, which is worthy initiation, because that project is one of the best anywhere in the country. And Office of the Secretary to Government, you have 8.48%, which is, very important. So the critical, MDAs account for 87.17% of our budget. So this is very, very important to note. And so in page 112, you have some heavy spending MDAs in 2023 budget. The proposed budget has MDA that will be spending higher than others, and this is so because we have strong determination to actualize the completion of our projects, increase our strive to improve the educational subsector, the human capital development agenda, and engage our people in food production programs and various other entrepreneurship programs. This has further made us to prioritize the following subsectors like education, works, health, infrastructure, agriculture, human capital development, health, internal security and border peace, finance, commerce, industry, power, housing, judiciary, legislature, secretary, government. Speaker, we had to put legislature here for wisdom. Mr. Speaker, having gone this far, let me, Mr. Speaker, offer deep appreciation, to you, a very wise speaker, an erudite speaker, and a speaker that is very transparent, and to this hallowed chamber, the honorable members, the deputy speaker, the leader, floor functionaries, House of Assembly members. Let me emphasize, in a way of appreciation, that without your selfless sacrifices, we wouldn't have been where we are. But we can beat our chest at this stage to say we came according to God's divine intervention, and we have not disappointed our founding fathers. And I know that they will be beaming and smiles, why that they in heaven serving our Lord Jesus Christ. And they will be saying to us, go ahead, you're on track. And this they have been doing. And I believe strongly, by the reason of our hearts and our commitment to our people, Mr. Speaker, that we extend such prayers to you. And by God's special grace, you win the election. Together with your colleagues, you will even surpass our administration, because it's a continuous one. For a divine mandate we came. So we thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My thanks also go to the members for the unwavering legislative support we have been enjoying from them in the last 7 years plus. The Speaker has continued to demonstrate great capacity and maturity in holding the affairs of the 5th and 6th Assembly. And this is very important. No wonder he has made a history as the first Speaker in the history of Ebonyi State to be elected 2 times Speaker of the State House of Assembly. Mr. Speaker, congratulations. My administration received tremendous support and assistance from the Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria right from 2015 when we came on board. And for this, I'm deeply indebted to our dear President, His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari, and his dear wife, Her Excellency Aisha Buhari. We are grateful to His Excellency the Vice President of Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Chairman of NEC, His Excellency Professor Yemi Osibanjo, the SAN, the President of the Senate, His Excellency Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, and the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, Right Honorable Gbajabiamila. Let me pronounce it like our presidential candidate, Ade Tinubu, Gbajabiamila, and all the National Assembly members. We thank the Secretary to Government of the Federation, our dear boss Mustafa, the Honorable Minister of Finance, being our anchor helper, our dear sister Zainab Ahmed, our brother, the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria. The Governor has been a great support to Mr. President, a great support to all the governors, and I continue to commend him very highly with all the innovations and for all the great impulse he made to stabilize the economy. We came at a very turbulent time, and without this team that I've appreciated working together and going beyond the limits, it would have been very difficult for the states to be stable. My profound appreciation goes to my beloved wife, my own sweetheart, my beautiful wife, Her Excellency Chief Richard Ogumai. I'm sure that my food will be better today. And my dear children and members of my family, whose support and prayers are most invaluable to administration. I thank my dear Deputy Governor, His Excellency Barrister Eric Kelechigwe, and his dear wife for being true friends, and family members and helpers. To my ESCO members, both those who are still serving and those who now have other engagements, you are great partners in the achievements of this administration of divine mandate. The judicially ably led by our Judge of impeccable character, His Lordship Honorable Justice EBBC EBBC, Chief Judge of Ebonyi State, who has proved his methods as the defender of our democracy. I appreciate all the judges of Ebonyi State. I appreciate all the magistrates. I appreciate the entire judiciary. I appreciate the Ministry of Justice. My special thanks go to the Christian Association of Nigeria, in Southeast, Chairman, dear Reverend Father Abraham Wade. I call him all the time the conscience of ESCO, who is the Chairman of CAN in Southeast and also the Chairman of CAN in Ebonyi State. The Divine Mandate pastors, ably led by the Chaplain of Government House, my own pastor, Pastor Mr. Eunice Oyeyemi, the founding fathers, and good enough, one of them, the chairman is here, the former deputy governor of Odime State. Father, we are grateful you're here. I saw you seated with Professor Gu. The Elders Council, ably led by Engineer Ben Oka. Engineers are very good at this administration. The Traditional Rulers Council, the Council Chairman, Development Center Coordinators, the 171 councillors, security agencies, especially our dear Commissioner of Police and the SDS. The oppositions were jubilating that the they have removed my commissioner of police. The commissioner of police, yes, I've always said to my very big brother and good friend, IGP, please don't promote my CP until I finish my administration. And so when the promotion came, I said, IG, please, hold on, this man has done very well. And we are very, very proud of what he has done together with SDS, the army, and all the security agencies. You've done very well. The Akubaroha Youth Assembly, with our new leadership, the Richa Umahi Women for Akubaroha, the Market Women, Dave, who is Umahi Support Group led by Chika Wangele. Consular Support Group, FON, that's Francis, the incoming governor support group, Women in Politics, Women in Mining, National Council for Women's Society, National Youth Council, and other groups that I can't mention all of them here. Let me thank in a very special my family brothers, General Obi Ebel Umahi, retired, His Royal Highness Eze Laz Umahi, Barrister Roy Oyu Umahi, Chief Austin Umahi, Chief Stanley Umahi, Derek, Masha, many of them. Great family with many children. And my dear children, especially Prince Osborne, Prince Engineer Osborne, and my very good friend and confidant, my little heaven. You have all done me proud. Finally, let me thank the Most High God for the manifestos of His love and grace in our administration. He has been the reason for the success of our divine mandate administration. We give Him all the glory, honor, and adoration. At this juncture, Mr. Speaker, before I come to do the last ritual, let me, say to Nigerians that as the campaign is heating up, I'm a bit disappointed that we are not campaigning on issues. We are campaigning on hate speeches, bitterness of the heart, and they should not be. It is important as a nation that we reflect on the efforts and the strives of our founding fathers, and to also know the degree of benefit we shall all have if we keep this country together. There shouldn't be politics of religion. There shouldn't be politics, of hate. There shouldn't be politics of bitterness. And I find it, very laughable when some governors take to televisions and pages of newspapers to criticize Mr. President. Let me confess that there is no administration in the history of this country where the president, together with the vice president, CBN governor, minister of finance, have so assisted the governors like Mr. President Buhari. Without the assistance, do we talk of the Paris Club? Do we talk of the budget support? Do we talk of the bailout fund? Do we talk of the Shopee? Many funds that were hidden from the ages past were all unraveled under the integrity and good heart of Mr. President. It is very terrible to be, ungrateful. And when you as a governor, you are criticizing president, don't forget that the federal government has 52% and we governors, we have 48%. We should account to the people what we have done with our own 48%. Forget about the federal government. But you become popular when you just take on a president or take on the federal government, knowing that he that, criticize other people. When you condemn people, you bring judgment upon yourself. You should be able to tell your people what you have done with, the monies given to you. And this is very important. We are accountable to the people, not to be criticizing the president or the federal government. The federal government is not a magician. The president is not a magician. They have their flaws. They have their failures, but also have their successes. We must acknowledge that. And the need for another government is to improve on the areas where the present administration has failed. So we can't just consign this administration to the dustbin. And I speak as a Nigerian. If you don't like it, go to Facebook. I'm here in Ebonyi State, and you can't do me anything because I speak the truth. And so, Mr. Speaker, at this juncture, let me, distinguished honorable members, let me, in my honor as the governor and the chief executive of Ebonyi State, lay before this honorable house the 2023 appropriation bill of 139,398,250,000 280,640 naira. Let me say, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't matter the size of the budget. What matters is the breadth of God upon this budget. You are a living witness, my dear brothers and sisters, what God has done in Ebonyi State with little money. And so we continue to put our trust in Him, and we continue to put this budget as the mustard seed. And with our faith in God and our commitment to our people, and with good conscience and the fear of God, it's my prayer that the good Lord who started it will continue to do it, and we bring Ebonyi State as the best economy with good intention in this country. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I seek your permission to lay before you this budget, 2023 budget, tagged Divine Mandate Budget of Consolidation. And indeed, we have consolidated, and we're going to finally consolidate with the completion of all our projects. And continuity, Mr. Speaker, this continuity is for you and your colleagues and all the good people of Ebonyi State. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
With His Excellency the Governor, Engineer Dr. David Mwezu Mahi, just presented appropriation bill and budget estimates 2023 of the Ebonyi State Government to the State House of Assembly, led by the Speaker. The budget estimates of over 139 billion naira was presented by His Excellency the Governor on behalf of the Executive Council of Ebonyi State. It's been happening live at the Assembly Complex in Kaliki Road, Abakaliki, Ebonyi State. And this very important event, the last in the life of the present administration in Ebonyi State. We've been bringing you the live coverage of the events on EBBC 98.1 Salt FM and Salt TV, Abakaliki, Ebonyi State.
Yes, Honorable Chinwe.
And now to members of the Assembly.
My name is Chinwe Nwachukwu, representing us at this constituency. I rise to move a motion that the 2023 budget estimate read and presented by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Ebonyi State, be accepted as a working document. I so move.
Yes, Chinedawo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I represent Honorable Chinedawo. I represent the good people of Mahuku North. I rise to second the motion that the 2023 budget be accepted as a working document. I so second.
Those in support that the budget of Divine Mandate, Consolidation and Continuity 2023 budget presented to this Hallowed Chamber by our leader, the Governor, a motion moved by Honorable Chinwe Nwachukwu Lillian and seconded by Chinedu Awo Honorable, that budget presented before us be accepted as a working document. Say aye.
Aye.
Against any. The budget of Divine Mandate and the Divine Mandate Consolidation and Continuity budget of 2023 presented in this Hallowed Chamber is hereby accepted as a working document. Having accepted this budget as a working document is hereby passed first reading. Leader of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, the most experienced presiding officer of any parliament from Ebonyi, and my dear colleagues, my name is Chukwu Victor Ozom. I represent.
We are not hearing you.
Mr. Speaker, I said my name is Chukwu Victor Ozom. I represent ZAR Northwest, and I rise to move a motion that the bill for a law to appropriate the sum of 139,398,280,640 naira be allowed to go into second reading. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, assembly.
Any seconder of the motion? Yes, Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Chukwu Lucas. I represent Ishelo South constituency. I rise to second the motion that the 2023 appropriation bill be allowed to go into second reading. I so second.
Those in support that the 2023 appropriation bill, having passed first reading of this at this hallowed chamber today, 7th day of November 2022, be allowed to go into second reading as contained in the session order 45 of our House rule. Say aye.
Aye.
Against say nil. There I have it. The leader of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I haven't gotten the load of the House for the bill to go into second reading. Mr. Speaker, I rise in my honor to also appeal that the bill be allowed to go through second reading and passing on the grounds that the bulk of the work in this particular legislation lies more in the committee work, where all items in the bill are being dissolved into their MDAs. But this particular process of the second reading of the bill is only imperative to underscore the provisions of the Constitution in this lawmaking process. But I think the job lies more in the committee work, where members will be availed with the items for scrutiny. But I will be talking more, Mr. Speaker, on the budget performances of the previous years, because today the budget presentation has met me with a lot of mixed feelings. They feel that this appears to be the end of an era where the presiding officer of the House of Assembly is adjourned to be the most transparent presiding officer, and the chief executive is also adjourned to be a man with a Midas touch. An era where services to the people is so pronounced. People have seen an unusual commitment to service delivery from those they have elected to man the helms of affairs. I am a bit worried, Mr. Speaker, over this reality that has finally dawned on us, that there will be a time where this revolution will be enjoyed because of the provisions of the law will be ending. But I think I'm consoled, Mr. Speaker, with the fact that just like Christ did at his departure, it was difficult for his apostles, but he left them with a consolation that he was going to send them a comforter. So we are sure that at the departure of these colossus, this man
who has revolutionized administration in this state, a comforter in the person of his successor, who is also a son, will be given to Ebonyi people, and that is why this is a budget of a continuation. And so, Mr. Speaker, I am not in my best frame of mind to, adumbrate on this budget. I will be making a lot of mistakes. I have been really feeling a bit nervous, because finally reality has dawned on us that after today it will not be the same again. But like I said, we are consoled that from the very low end of the great leader God has given us is coming a successor, which is a proof of a greater success. One of the way to know a successful man is when he is sure of who his successor is. And so, Mr. Speaker, as beautiful as always, the budget has captured our diverse and various needs. Needless to talk about the prudence, the probity that has characterized the administration of our father and leader. A man found to be a godsend. He has come at the most difficult time in the history of this nation, yet we are here celebrating our best moment. And so, Mr. Speaker, like I said, I'm not really, I beg to submit.
Yes, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and my colleagues. I remain Honorable Kinsley Ogbonna Igoro, member representing Afikpo Northwest constituency and the Deputy Leader, Ebonyi State House, Deputy Speaker, Ebonyi State House of Assembly. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, yes, I'm full of emotions today, given the importance of this presentation by our dear Governor. But one thing is very important in life. God gives people leaders they need at every particular time. His Excellency has come, he has walked, he has proved himself. Ebonyi State will not forget him so easily, because he has laid the original foundation of the taking off of Ebonyi State. I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, if when the presentation was being made by His Excellency the Governor, I don't know if we paid some particular attention to some international accolades and national accolades the Governor has brought on Ebonyi State through budget implementation. He mentioned when we were the first in capital expenditure and investment infrastructure among the 36 states. We were the first in the Southeast in budget implementation and second in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We were fourth in CEFTAS, which is a World Bank analysis. Now, the most important of them all is that Ebonyi is the third least indebted state in the country with all this infrastructural development. Your Excellency, well, thank you. That is a man with a Midas touch. Mr. Speaker, as you can see the name of this budget, divine mandate, consolidation and continuity. I can tell you one thing, for any meaningful development to take place in any country, nation or state, the infrastructure must be in place. It is the first and foremost thing to do. When His Excellency was talking, he mentioned about the ring road that is connecting about 8 local governments. You can know that in all those our 8 local governments, all the farm produce can easily get into the town, which means there will be mobility of agricultural produce and mobility of labor. And again, like when the leader was saying, when he was talking about Christ, about living and leaving somebody with them, he is also leaving one of our own who has passed through the ranks, who knows what it is, who was part and parcel of the outgoing administration to come into the next administration. Most times people like us who visit Lagos often, you go about and discuss Lagos is growing, Lagos is growing. How did Lagos grow? Lagos grew because there was a master plan. When the person who initiated the master plan left, there was a successor. And the successor did not go to start his own projects. He continued with the master plan. He left, another successor took over. I wish that would be the case of Ebonyi. We should open our eyes. The governor has brought Ebonyi to the nation and the world in general. Before, we were not looked at the way we are being looked at. Most times I laugh when His Excellency complains about enemies and people who talk about him. Your Excellency, they talk about you because you're bearing good fruit. If you were not bearing any good fruit, nobody will talk about you. So most times you need enemies to excel. So my colleagues, if you go through the budget as read and go through it, you will still see that prudent manager of scarce resources. The governor has exhibited over the years that he's a prudent manager of resources. So I do not think we will have to delay so much on this budget, given his antecedents and given what we have. You can see the universities that are going to be built. The one in Oferekwe, which is, in his words, going to create a Silicon Valley. So Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I join all of us to act and work for the speedy approval of this budget. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much. Use your mic. Friday Muho.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker and our incoming Governor. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Barrister Wuho Linus Friday. I represent the very good people of Ezza Northeast constituency in this assembly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to appreciate the leader of our state, the great lion of the East, the man that have made us proud. Mr. Speaker, our leader, the governor, have distinguished himself in so many areas. One, for the respect the rules of law. A close look to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended.
Out of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The fundamental functions of government is provisions of security and welfare to the people. On the area of security, Ebonyi State is rated very high today in the country because of the low crime rate that we experience in the state, courtesy of His Excellency's security policies and programs. Mr. Speaker, on the area of welfare, res ipsa loquitur, the fact is speaking for itself. We can see the presence of the governor scattered all over the whole state in triangular equilibrium, reflecting all the major 3 zones in the state equally. Most importantly, Mr. Speaker, I've watched over the years since 2019 when we joined this assembly. We have observed his religious implementations of budgetary provisions, his prudent management of resources, his high level of prudence in management of resources. As a result, Mr. Speaker, I therefore join my colleagues. I therefore, Mr. Speaker, support my colleagues that this bill be moved to next level and urge my colleagues equally to support them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, distinguished colleagues, those believe that the submission of the leader has been able to convince you, and you agree with the submission of the leader that this bill presented to us, having passed first reading and already agreed to be in second reading, that this bill be allowed to pass second reading. Say aye.
Aye.
Against any nil? The ayes have it. So the bill for a law to appropriate the sum of 139,398,280,640 naira no kobo is hereby passed the second reading at this hallowed chamber today, the 7th day of November 2022. And this bill is hereby committed to all the committees. So all the committees, the heads of agencies and head of all the MDS will visit the committee as regard to their own ministries and agencies as from Tuesday, tomorrow, by 10 a.m. in the committee rooms. We have about 5 committee rooms in this hallowed chamber. Thank you. Yes, Honorable Chinwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues. Having successfully presented the budget, I rise to move a motion that His Excellency the Governor be ushered out of the hallowed chamber. Thank you. I so move.
Any seconder of the motion? Yes, Kim Konuma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my reverend colleagues. My name is Kemka Okoro Onoma. I represent Afiko Southwest constituency. Whereas this section is over, whereas my honorable colleague Chinwe Nwachukwu has moved a motion to have our governor escorted out, I rise with all dignity and privilege, Mr. Speaker, to second the motion. I so second.
Those in support that His Excellency the Chief Executive, having performed his constitutional rights by presenting a budget prepared by himself according to section 121 subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he ushered out of this hallowed chamber as moved by Chinwe and seconded by Kemuka Okoro Onuma. Say aye.
Aye.
Against any nil? The ayes have it. It's only the governor. Everybody in the gallery should sit quietly. It's only the governor that is approved to be ushered out of the chamber. Only the governor. So if you are sitting down, just sit down quietly where you are until when the session closes. Thank you.
His Excellency the Governor, Engineer Dr. David Mahi, has concluded his constitutional assignments
and all the principal
here
officers
in the House of Assembly.
Out of the chamber.
We just presented the 2023 appropriation bill and budget estimate of over 139 billion 398 million naira to the State House of Assembly for consideration and passage into law.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues.
His Excellency the Governor has been respectfully ushered out of the hallowed chamber by the principal officers of the House.
Have been properly handled. I rise to move a motion.
It's still happening.
This House be adjourned to a later date. I still move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder of the motion? Yes, Aton Wagede.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, the incoming governor of Ebonyi State. My name is Honorable Anthony Wagede. I represent the good people of Isi East constituency. I like to second the motion as already moved by Chinedu Awo. As so second.
Those in support of this house, the joint another legislative, they say aye. Against any nail. The house of the house is hereby adjourned another legislative day.
And that's the end of the exercise presentation of the 2023 appropriation bill and budget estimate by the executive arm of the Ebonyi State government, led by the governor, His Excellency Engineer Dr. David Mahi, to the State House of Assembly. The 2023 appropriation bill and budget estimates of the Ebonyi State government is to the tune of over 139 billion 398 million naira. The bill has passed first and second readings and committed to the committees of the whole. This is how we have come to the end of the live coverage of the event at the Assembly Complex, Nkaliki Road, Abakaliki, Ebonyi State. On behalf of the Director General of EBBC, Engineer Chief Timothy Wachi, members of management and staff of EBBC, members of OB crew led by Engineer Emmanuel Ekwe, Uche Michael is Promise Uka, Chibez Zaga Festus Agu, Ibiam Okmani is Naji, Amara Emmanuel, and all other members of OB crew, not forgetting Chimakalu Oji, Odoma Oga, my colleague Sandra Chuku. My name is Emenike Ogalago, saying good afternoon and a million thanks to you for being part of the broadcast. At this point, we hand over the baton to our colleague at the broadcasting house, number 96 in Kaliki Road, Abakaliki, for the rest of our programs slated for this afternoon. God bless you and bye for now.
I